Hello everyone, welcome to Kansas Future. The Kansas City Chiefs just received a massive update on DJ Humphries. He might become your new starting left tackle. We'll also discuss Wanya Morris and his historically poor performance against the Raiders on Black Friday. But before we dive in, you're listening to the KC Sports Report. I'm Michael Darcy, a local Kansas City-based content creator covering the Chiefs daily. The best way to support this channel is by hitting the like button on this video and subscribing for more Chiefs coverage. Let's start with Wanya Morris. We all know he struggled against a subpar Raiders defensive line. Outside of Max Crosby, the Raiders don't have many standouts on their defensive line. However, Chasen Hines managed to pressure Mahomes, and Max Crosby made Mahomes sweat throughout the entire game. Crosby's impact was expected, but the unexpected part was the rest of the Raiders' defensive line overpowering Morris. Wanya Morris was a revolving door at left tackle, delivering one of the worst performances by a Chiefs player in years. According to Nick Jacobs, via Next Gen Stats from their Prime Vision broadcast, Morris allowed 11 pressures against the Raiders, the third most by a Chiefs left tackle in a single game since 2018. To put it in perspective, Eric Fisher allowed 14 pressures in a game in 2020, which is the record, and Morris's 12 pressures earlier this year ranks second. Had Morris not been benched midway through the game, he likely would have set a new record. His inability to block anyone effectively made him a liability. What's worse, Morris's struggles on Black Friday make it clear he might not even hold up against a solid college-level pass rusher right now. But here's the silver lining. Morris responded to his benching with a positive mindset. When reporters asked him about his historically poor performance, he said, "Hey man, execution just wasn't there today. I have to be better. Things don't always go your way, but it's about how you respond. I can either lay down or get back up, go in Monday, learn, and get better. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to get better." While Morris's attitude is encouraging, the Chiefs needed to make an immediate change. After seeing enough, the coaching staff moved Joe Thuney to left tackle and inserted Mike Sendo at left guard. Clearly, Morris might have potential for the future, but he's not the solution right now. Enter veteran tackle DJ Humphries. The Chiefs signed DJ Humphries about a week ago, and he's already in the conversation to start at left tackle. According to Nate Taylor of The Athletic, one of the most reliable reporters covering the Chiefs, Humphries is being fast-tracked into the lineup and is expected to start at left tackle against the Chargers on Sunday Night Football on December 8th. This news is a breath of fresh air for the Chiefs, especially after the disaster against the Raiders. While Humphries might not be an All-Pro or even a Pro Bowl caliber player, he brings much-needed stability to the offensive line. The Chiefs wasted no time once Humphries was medically cleared. He was in a Chiefs uniform within 8 hours of clearance. This move signals how urgently Brett Veach and the Chiefs wanted to address their offensive line issues. Stay tuned, Chiefs fans. The offensive line could look very different and hopefully much stronger by Sunday night. The Kansas City Chiefs' decision to sign DJ Humphries and potentially start him at left tackle within 2 weeks of his arrival says a lot about how little trust the front office, particularly Brett Veach, had in Wanya Morris. Humphries is seen as the better option, and his addition is expected to significantly improve the offensive line. His rapid integration into the starting lineup demonstrates the urgency of the situation. In the past couple of weeks, Patrick Mahomes has faced immense pressure, being sacked 10 times, 5 times by the Carolina Panthers, who have one of the worst defensive lines in the NFL, and 5 more by the Las Vegas Raiders. Aside from Max Crosby, the Raiders' defensive line isn't particularly threatening, yet the Chiefs struggled to protect Mahomes. Despite pulling off a scrappy win against the Raiders on Black Friday, it was evident that Mahomes didn't have the time to operate effectively. When he did find open receivers, they often dropped the ball. DeAndre Hopkins, Travis Kelce, and Noah Gray all had critical drops. One pivotal moment came in the red zone when Mahomes was sacked. Frustrated, he visibly lost his cool, leading to Wanya Morris being benched shortly afterward. If Humphries had been ready to play, he likely would have stepped in during that game. The offensive line's struggles have been a major issue this season, often overshadowing other concerns like dropped passes or Mahomes not looking like his usual MVP self. Against the Raiders, Mahomes faced relentless pressure, with Wanya Morris allowing 11 pressures before being benched. That's the third most pressures allowed by a Chiefs tackle in the past 5 years. It's no surprise the Chiefs acted quickly to sign DJ Humphries, as not having him would have put the team in a precarious position. Humphries brings a veteran presence and stability to the left side of the line, which should relieve some of the pressure on Joe Fooney and Creed Humphrey. In recent weeks, Fooney has essentially been playing two positions, shifting to cover for Morris's shortcomings. With Humphries in place, the line should function more effectively, giving Mahomes the protection he needs to perform at his best. Now, Chiefs Kingdom, the question is, are you excited about DJ Humphries starting on December 8th against the Chargers? What do you think about Wanya Morris? Does he have potential for the future, or have the Chiefs seen enough to move on? While Morris's performance has been disappointing, his attitude and work ethic, as seen in his post-game interview, suggest he could still develop into a productive player down the line, just not right now. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more daily Chiefs content. I've been here every day, bringing you the latest on the Chiefs, and your support means the world to me. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Chiefs! The Kansas City Chiefs, despite being perennial Super Bowl contenders, find themselves in yet another embarrassing situation after narrowly defeating the Las Vegas Raiders in a sloppy 19-17 victory. For a team that's supposed to be at the pinnacle of the NFL, barely scraping by against a struggling Raiders squad should have every Chiefs fan holding their breath. This isn't just a bad game, it's a glaring red flag that raises serious concerns about the team's trajectory. Let's be clear, this wasn't a victory to celebrate. The Chiefs, with all their talent and a generational quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, struggled against a Raiders team that has been out of sync for years. Are we really watching the same team that once looked unstoppable? These types of performances leave fans questioning everything, and rightfully so. This isn't an isolated incident, it's part of a troubling pattern. The offense, which prides itself on execution, was shockingly inefficient. They moved the ball but couldn't finish drives, reaching the red zone just once and settling for 4 field goals. That's not the hallmark of a championship team. It's barely enough to beat a team like the Raiders. Even more concerning, the Chiefs allowed the Raiders to stay within striking distance all game. With under 2 minutes remaining, the Raiders took a 17-16 lead, leaving Kansas City on the brink of an embarrassing loss. While the defense ultimately saved the day, relying on them to close games is not sustainable. The offense, the supposed engine of this team, is sputtering. This isn't just a rough patch, it's a systemic issue. The Chiefs got away with it this time, but if they don't make serious adjustments, they'll find themselves on the wrong end of games when it matters most. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. The offensive line, particularly the left tackle position, has been disastrous. The protection breakdowns are glaring and impossible to ignore. Wanya Morris's performance at left tackle was historically bad, allowing 11 pressures before being benched. Joe Fooney, who was forced to compensate for Morris's struggles, was essentially playing 2 positions at once. This is not a recipe for success, and the cracks in the offensive line are widening with each passing week. Adding to the offensive struggles are the persistent drops by receivers. DeAndre Hopkins, Travis Kelce, and Noah Gray all had crucial drops against the Raiders. Even when Mahomes had time to throw, rare as that was, his receivers failed to capitalize. Mahomes can't do it all, and this lack of support only compounds the offensive issues. The Chiefs' offensive woes are a stark contrast to their reputation as an offensive powerhouse. It's clear the team can no longer rely solely on their talent to win games. The cracks in their foundation are becoming too large to ignore, and if they think they can simply flip the switch when it matters most, they're in for a rude awakening. Chiefs fans, it's time to ask the hard questions. Can this team address its glaring deficiencies, or are they destined to fall short when the stakes are highest? The issues at left tackle, the inefficiencies on offense, and the inability to execute in key moments are all red flags that need immediate attention. The Chiefs may have escaped with a win this time, but the underlying problems are impossible to ignore. If they don't fix these issues soon, they'll be watching the Super Bowl from home. It's time for this team to face the reality of their situation and make the necessary changes before it's too late. The Kansas City Chiefs have a glaring issue at left tackle, and it's one that has reached a critical point after weeks of poor performances. Wanya Morris has been getting destroyed on the left side, and Friday's game against the Raiders highlighted just how severe the problem is. He was completely overwhelmed by the Raiders' pass rush, leading to his benching in the fourth quarter a humiliating outcome for a starter on a team with Super Bowl aspirations. Let that sink in. A left tackle for a championship contending team was benched in a game against one of the weakest teams in the league. When your star quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, is visibly frustrated with the lack of protection, you know the situation has spiraled out of control. Mahomes was sacked 5 times, a clear indicator that the offensive line is becoming a liability. Mahomes, ever the leader, refused to place blame, saying after the game, "Whoever's out there, I trust those guys to go out there and make it happen." That's the kind of attitude that makes him one of the best in the league. However, the reality is that no quarterback, not even Mahomes, can consistently excel when the protection collapses around him. The struggles at left tackle have put the Chiefs in a dire position. Morris's performance has been abysmal, and rookie Kingsley Suamataia has been ineffective, proving he's not ready for NFL competition. This lack of depth left the Chiefs with no choice but to sign DJ Humphries, a 9-year veteran and former Pro Bowler. While Humphries isn't the same player he once was, he represents a significant upgrade over Morris. If he can stabilize the left side, it could be a game changer for the Chiefs' offensive line. The next game against the Chargers is critical. If Humphries can step in and provide solid protection, the Chiefs might finally start addressing their offensive line woes. However, this is not an overnight fix. The team needs consistency, and the offensive line must improve drastically if the Chiefs hope to make a deep postseason run. The offensive line's issues aren't just hurting Mahomes, they're derailing the entire offense. Mahomes has had little time to work, and even when he does, receivers are dropping passes. It's a cascading problem that starts with the inability to protect the quarterback. Against the Raiders, the Chiefs allowed a struggling team to hang around all game. Championship-caliber teams don't let that happen. The offensive line isn't just a minor issue, it's the core problem holding the Chiefs back. When the line fails, Mahomes has to scramble to make plays, and the offense struggles to finish drives. This lack of protection has turned into a troubling trend, and the team's inability to address it sooner has only magnified the problem. Kansas City's lack of urgency and focus is alarming. This isn't just about one bad game, it's a wake-up call. The Chiefs have been coasting on talent, but talent alone won't win championships. The cracks in the foundation are widening, and if they don't address these issues immediately, they'll face more than just a disappointing postseason. They'll risk squandering their Super Bowl window entirely. Chiefs fans, it's time to ask the tough questions. Is this team prepared to make the necessary changes, or are they content to gamble on Mahomes' greatness to cover their flaws? Fixing the offensive line, particularly at left tackle, is the first step. Without it, the Chiefs' dreams of another Super Bowl could slip away faster than anyone expected. And guys, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment. See you in the next video.